Hello. When a lease is ending or you are extending a current lease, the system may need to be updated. I will walk you through several common situations. I'm going to start by explaining how to end a lease. If you have a fixed term lease and the month-to-month box is not checked, there is nothing you need to do. The lease will automatically stop on the end date. If you currently have a month-to-month lease, this lease type continues to add rent until you end it. If the tenants are moving out and the lease is ending, the lease needs to be updated from a month-to-month lease to a fixed-term lease to end it. Click on the fixed-term lease, enter an end date, and make sure the month-to-month option is not selected. This will end the lease on the end date. If the lease end date was in the past, you may need to click the Trashcan icon in the unit view to remove rent charges that were after the end date. In the last situation, if you currently have a fixed-term lease where the month-to-month option is selected, this lease will also continue to add rent until you end it. To end this type of lease, simply uncheck the month-to-month option and make sure the end date is correct. This will end the lease on the end date. Click the Save button at the bottom of the lease and you're all done. Let's now talk about a situation where you sign a new lease with the same tenants. Instead of ending the old lease and creating a new lease in Schedule My Rent, it is typically easier to just update the details in the current lease. All you need to do is update the end date with the new date and click the month-to-month box if the new lease automatically converts to a month-to-month lease. If the new lease has a starting date in the future and the rent amount has changed, you need to schedule the rent amount change by entering the effective date for the change and a new rent amount. If the rent amount changed in the past, you need to update the rent amount in the rent section instead. Then click the Save button at the bottom of the lease and you are all done. If a tenant is using autopay and the rent amount changed, the tenant will need to update their autopay amount. Otherwise, tenants don't need to do anything. I want to go through one more situation. If the rent change happened in the past and an incorrect rent amount was already added, you need to click on the Trashcan icon to remove it and click on the Add Fee or Rent button to add the correct rent amount. Finally, let's talk about a situation where you sign a new lease and some or all of the tenants are different. Since the tenants are different, you should end the old lease and start a new lease. First, you need to end the old lease, as I described at the beginning of this video. Next, to add a new lease, go to the unit view and then click on the Add New Lease link and complete all of the information for your new lease. Here is a helpful tip. If some of the tenants are the same, use the same tenant emails as the original lease. If you do, the tenant will receive an email inviting them to the new lease. The tenant can then simply accept the new lease without setting up a new account or re-entering their bank account information. As a landlord, after you enter a new lease, you will see 2 rows for the same unit on the multi-unit dashboard. In this example, for 200 Main No. 2, the old lease with Brown as a tenant shows that the lease is ending in May. This lease will continue to be shown until the activity is over a month old, and then this row will be removed automatically. If you want to remove it from the view right away, you can edit the old lease, select the Advanced Options area, then indicate you don't want it shown. The new lease, with Doe as the tenant, shows that rent will be starting in May. By seeing both rows, you have a clear understanding that one lease is ending and a new lease is starting. If you are on the unit view, the current lease with Brown is shown initially. If you want to see the new lease or an older lease, simply click on the Lease drop-down box. For example, you can select any of the 3 leases listed, which is an old lease that has ended for Fletch, the current lease for Brown, or the upcoming lease for Doe. And that's it. This video has shown you how to end, extend, or create a new lease with different tenants. Please let us know if you have questions. Thank you.